What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with the video, first tag is going to be talking about was David Irving. He is quitting the NFL apparently because he's tired of the rules that the NFL has on marijuana. So apparently he's been suspended several times for marijuana. And so let's just see what they have to say about that.
I don't find David Irving to be wrong about what he is saying about the NFL's policy, particularly when you bring into account the number of drugs that they inject in the players, according to him, if he's
So that is kind of you can look at it two ways. So what it is, the NFL is saying that you can't smoke marijuana, but it's okay for them to give you all types of drugs, all types of painkillers. They don't want you to be intoxicated at work with marijuana, but you can show up game day full of, Vicodin, Percocet, Xanax, Dilaudid, all these painkillers. You can take those and be walking around and feel like a zombie, not know what's going on, not know who you are, but you can't smoke a blunt before a game? I don't understand that. Let's keep going.
Absolutely right, and I don't think we have any reason to believe that he is not. But the point is that as far as I'm concerned, if you're the NFL and you want to have a policy against weed, this is example number one right here. It's embarrassing. It really, really is. He's a multiple-time offender. He's cost himself millions of dollars. He only played in 2 games last year.
So what it is not only did he cost himself millions of dollars, he hurt the people around him. He hurt the people around him. And not only giving up that amount of money, he could have retired himself. He could have retired his brothers and sisters if need be. He could have retired his parents. But he could have retired his son and his son. He could retire future generations. He could retire his grandkids. So what it'd be is, Grandpa, he used to play in the NFL. Oh, wow, how come we're not rich then? Because he didn't want to follow the rules and not smoke weed and get a $90 million contract and play through. It just doesn't make sense. Don't screw over your future generations because you want to smoke weed right now. Let's keep going.
He's been in the league since 2015, has only played in 37 games in that span. Why? Because he appears to be an addict. That's really what it comes down to. So what you're saying is that rather than go out there and discipline yourself enough to follow rules and regulations, what you're going to do is cost yourself millions because you can't stop using weed.
So talk about discipline. So let's look what this guy did. It's discipline and sacrifice. So this guy probably sacrificed his whole life to get to the NFL. So when there was times when he sacrificed, when he didn't want to get up and run in the morning time. He sacrificed when he went to the weight room and didn't want to lift. He sacrificed when he went to study hall and got some extra studying in so he can get his 2.0 to stay eligible. He sacrificed getting bumps and bruises, scrapes, maybe spraying this, maybe a broken that. He sacrificed his body. Like I said, he sacrificed going to parties and having fun and do all the type of things that non-athletes can do. He sacrificed that all the way to get up to playing in the NFL, to make millions of dollars, but to throw it all away because you can't sacrifice or be disciplined enough to not smoke weed. You've been sacrificing and being disciplined this whole time, but you finally get to the top. And it's not you can't play because your knee hurts. You can't play because you broke something. You can't play because, something's going on with your back. You're being suspended and you're quitting because you can't stop smoking weed? If you really want to get high that bad, why don't you talk to a doctor and get a legal prescription for something that can get you high? If anything, get high off the painkillers that they give you guys. Those things will get you higher than weed. I hear Xanax and Percocet and all those type of things will get you high. Take one pill before the game, you're good to go. Even though probably some of those guys are probably taking multiple pills. It can't be that serious to smoke weed, man. It just can't be that serious. Let's keep going.
No sense whatsoever as far as I'm concerned, unless you're just an addict. Because I don't have a problem with weed use for medicinal purposes. I certainly don't have a problem with weed use because it subsides the pain that you're enduring, which is why I think it's a conversation worth having with the National Football League. I am totally against weed use for recreational use by professional athletes. And before the ignorant amongst this world comes out in droves to attack me for that position, I would remind everybody that I have been stating this position for years. And when they tried to attack me, I brought Snoop Dogg on this show live. I mean, who gives new meaning to a green room if you know anything about Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg came on First Take and acknowledged along with me that guess what? We ain't talking about just anybody, that it's not going to be effective. It's not going to affect your quality of life. If it's not going to compromise your living, we're not talking about that. We're talking as it pertains to professional athletes. If the rules stipulate that this is something that you can't do, otherwise it's going to cost you millions, then why allow it to get in the way of your paper? Snoop Dogg came on national television.
Okay, so that's very true. So again, he's throwing away his livelihood and he's screwing over his great grandkids that he could retire from him playing in the NFL. So it goes like this. So do you want to play in the NFL and make millions of dollars and be able to retire yourself and future generations and do whatever you want to do and set up a certain type of lifestyle and not smoke weed? Or do you want to smoke weed, do all types of drugs, do everything you want to do, but work at a 9 to 5, working at McDonald's, which is nothing wrong with working at McDonald's because working is working, while making $12 an hour, making $20,000 a year, but you can smoke all the weed you want? Or do you want to be an NFL pro football player making millions of dollars a year where you can't smoke? I mean, if anything, get your money, get major contracts, and then smoke after you're through playing. This guy hadn't even made it through one contract, I think. They say he's been playing for 3 years, and he only played 2 games last year? I mean, you got to be kidding me. It can't be that serious. It can't be that serious. Let's keep going, I guess.
Television and acknowledge that for professional athletes. Both of us agreeing we didn't like the rule, but both of us recognizing the fact that it wasn't worth losing millions of dollars. And here David Irving is really articulating this point and putting out a video that essentially shows him to either be an addict or absolutely positively ignorant and undisciplined. Now, I'm not calling him that as a person. I'm saying how the video makes him look.
Well, the video doesn't make him look like anything. The video makes him look like what he is. He's putting it out there. There's no special Photoshop going on. He's the one look like an idiot. For one, look, but check this out. So he may be what he may want to be a martyr and set the tone for getting the rules changed in the NFL about marijuana and about having players be able to smoke and everything that goes along with that. But don't let that mess with your money. Don't let that mess with your money. If that was me, sure, I'm like, we should be able to smoke weed. We should be able to do what we want. But if we can't do that, I'm not going to smoke. You're not going to mess with my money. I'm not going to step up, put myself out there. You're not going to make a martyr out of me to set the tone to show you, hey, I'll quit the NFL. I'll take away my own millions of dollars because I want to smoke weed. You're not playing with my money like that. You're not going to make an example out of me. The next player, if he wants to do what he wants to do, if he wants to represent and smoke weed and lose money and all that, cool. But I'll be over here playing in the league, making millions of dollars. And if need be, I'll smoke after the season or after I'm done playing. You can smoke after you're done playing. You think you're going to play 40 or 50 years? You'd be lucky to have 5, 6, 7 years. And the NFL average is like 2 or 3 years. Get as much money as you can. He's going to be sorry when he's in his 40s working at some little Albertsons or some little grocery store or something, which is nothing wrong with working at Albertsons or a grocery store. But he's going to be kicking himself. Let's keep going.
I don't know him, but it's really sad. When you are a professional athlete, you have busted your tail all your life to put yourself in a position to generate millions for yourself, max. And you are willing to throw it all away because you can't stay off the weed. To do that.
And also, there are people that don't smoke weed for average 9 to 5 jobs making $30,000 a year. They follow the rules to the T. And they're not making probably 2% of what he makes. They don't smoke. They come to work on time. They don't complain. They don't do any of that for $30,000 a year. Some people do it for 20. And they follow the rules. And here you are making millions of dollars playing a kid's game that grown men are playing. And you can't just stop smoking weed. Like I said, if anything, get some pills from a doctor or get you high. Percocet, Vicodin, Xanax. You can get those from a doctor prescribed. It doesn't make sense. Getting high can't be that serious. It can't be. Smoking weed's not that serious to give up millions of dollars. I get some of those people that have to work that 9 to 5. Tell them, look, you can be an NFL player, making millions of dollars, but you just can't smoke weed. That's it. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So let's keep going.
To yourself and to think it's a good thing. It's just one of the saddest things that I've seen, to be quite honest with you.
All right, 3 things here. 1, David Irving is obviously addicted to a drug, not just medicine. I don't have a problem with recreational use, and I'll explain that in a moment. But he has, for him to say he's not, of course he's addicted. I suspect, by the way, that he may be addicted to the delivery system because cannabis is not considered an addictive drug, though we know in life you can be addicted to all kinds of things, including like binge eating and stuff. So stands to reason you can become at least psychologically addicted to a drug, even though it shouldn't be a Schedule I drug, cannabis. But the point is, he may be addicted to nicotine. A lot of times, like, people who think they're...
No, Max. Come on. He's smoking weed. He's not smoking 10 cigarettes before the game. Okay? He's smoking a blunt before the game. Multiple blunts. Probably multiple blunts after the game. Nicotine. Get out of here. Just because it's rolled up, just because a blunt outside it's got nicotine, and it's just a wrap? He's addicted to the weed, Max, and you know this. I know. I've seen your past. I know you know what's up with the culture. I know you know what's up. So let's keep going.
Addicted to weed, they roll it in blunts. There's no filter. That's a massive dose of nicotine they're inhaling, and they become addicted to the cigar paper, and they think they're addicted to weed. So he is addicted to something, though, to sacrifice millions and millions of dollars he hasn't even made yet, on a principled stand because he doesn't want to take a drug test. Obviously, it seems that he's addicted to me. That's number 1.
So another point I like to make before Max gets in there, people talk about you can't be successful if you smoke weed. You can't do this. I bet you if you get some of the top people in the world, I bet you if you get some of the top athletes, some of the GOATs, you look at Michael Jordan, maybe Tom Brady, maybe Barry Bonds, maybe a bunch of all-stars. I bet you some of those guys are smokers. As a matter of fact, I remember when I was little, remember Ricky Williams, the running back for the Texas Longhorns? So when he rushed for 2,000 yards and he won the Heisman Trophy at Texas, I used him in a report. So I would talk to my teacher, I did a report, whatever, and I was telling her, like, look, I want to be just like, Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams rushed for 2,000 yards. He's doing this, he's doing that. Everybody's praising him. Everybody's loving him. Ricky Williams just won a Heisman Trophy. I want to be like Ricky Williams. This and that. And my teacher's like, oh, great job. Ricky Williams is a great example. He's nice, he's humble, he's this and that. He won the Heisman, he ran for 2,000 yards. He's a great athlete, he's a good person. Ricky Williams smokes weed. Ricky Williams smokes a lot of weed. You don't think Ricky Williams was puffing while he was running and getting the Heisman? So I threw it in my teacher's face. I'm like, wait a minute. So if I want to do all these things and I can be successful and smoke weed, then if he can do it, then I can do it. If he can do all of that and smoke weed, then I should be able to smoke weed too. I want to be successful like him. You said he's successful, right? So that's just a little side note. But there are some people that are very successful and can smoke weed and do all of that without a problem. Let's keep going.
Number 2, the recreational point. Stephen A., this is a league that peddles alcohol. They're in bed with alcohol companies. You can watch any football game and you are sold beer during the football game. And every peer-reviewed study ever done in the history of time shows you that alcohol and cannabis are roughly equivalent in terms of the damage they do. If one is worse, it's in fact alcohol. So at the very...
Yeah, I would definitely say. So I would definitely... If I had to drive, I'd rather drive high from smoking weed than being drunk from drinking alcohol, by far. I'm pretty sure I can drive very well if I'm super high versus if I'm super drunk. All day, every day, I would have that. So let's keep going.
At least it's hypocritical that the NFL test for cannabis. Now, they're choosing to do that. It's quasi-legal. It's legal in a bunch of states. We know if ethically or morally, if the bar is alcohol, then cannabis passes that test. And yet they choose to test for that anyway. That's an enormous mistake. And David Irving brought up the different things that it's not as bad as. How about Toradol? Is it as bad as Toradol? How about this? What's worse for your health? Cannabis or tackle football? Which one is worse for your health? You want to test for tackle football? Because I guarantee you will find every time tackle football is worse for the human body than cannabis. So
and another point would be along those lines is they talk about you can't smoke weed because it's bad for your body or whatever they think is going on with weed. What about all the pills that they take? Some guys take 20 or 30 pills just to be able to get out of bed. And the NFL gives it to them. I'm sure those guys get injections. They get everything. That's not bad for their body. That doesn't leave me impaired on the field. But you don't want me to smoke weed before the game? I bet you they do this test, and a lot of players don't test hot for weed. But I bet you if you test them for other substances, like I said, Percocet, Vicodin, Dilaudid, all those other type of things, they probably have high levels of those, and they're probably higher than somebody would be that was smoking weed. But that's okay to have half the team up there trashed, messed up out of their mind, sitting on the game? This doesn't make sense. But those are the rules. Those are the rules, and I'll follow them to be able to retire me and my future generations. That's just me. Let's keep going.
At league, selling you alcohol and promoting damaging the human body. I love football. I'm not saying get rid of football. I'm saying it is beyond hypocritical. It's absurd, and it should change the testing for the fact that they test for cannabis use at all. Yes, David Irving's an addict. No, I don't think what he's doing is wise. But this is an NFL issue more than a David Irving issue.
Stephen A., hold on. Can I ask you a quick question on this front?
Me or Max? Me or Max, Will?
I'm coming to you, Stephen A.
Okay.
I do want to clean up one thing. David Irving, and clean up something he said in his video, says he's quitting the NFL, right? Truthfully, the NFL quit David Irving. He has failed multiple drug tests over the last 2 months. He was on indefinite suspension. This is a little bit like breaking up with somebody or quitting your job after you get fired, right?
But the fact that he kept smoking means that he essentially did. He chose cannabis over the NFL.
Totally, Max. But the only thing I'd push back on, the one thing you
know, it just doesn't make sense at all. It just doesn't make sense. So he hadn't even gone through a full contract. How much money could he have made? How much money could he have made? This is his third year, I think they said, and he only played, 2 games last year? How much money could he have made total? Maybe $10 million, maybe $7 million, somewhere around there. Now, that's a lot of money. But for a lifetime, and he's young, he's only 25, and we don't know how much money he's already spent. We don't know what he's already bought. I could say maybe, if you want to smoke weed and you're an athlete and you want to buck the system, you want to do what you want to do, you better do it after you get a big contract. You better do that around contract 2 or 3. You better get a $90 million contract. You got your signing bonus for $34 million, and you're on the second or last year of that contract. But if you're only in your second or third year, and you've only made a couple $1 million, and we're not even talking about the taxes yet, that's a terrible move. That's sad right there. That's very, very. His parents got to be kicking themselves. Like, what are you doing? Are you kidding me? We didn't work through all this to have you just give it up over weed. We didn't go through all that. You didn't have friends and family, and everyone would push you to help you to get to the NFL, because everybody probably has some help to get to the NFL. Everybody has help to get you to the top. You're disrespecting all of them to throw it away because you can't stop smoking weed. Oh, it's terrible. That's a sad story. Let's keep going on.
Stephen A. both have said is, I don't know that we can say definitively that he's addicted. People still make bad choices. We just don't know. Is he giving up all these millions because he makes horrendous choices or because he's addicted? But my question to you, Stephen A., is this. Do you agree with Max that the NFL should stop testing for marijuana?
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all, because I am opposed to weed use by professional athletes recreationally. I have no problem with it for medicinal